Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the AMA on Monday. It is week 11 in the NFL. Just for one more day, though. It's about to be week 12 with Thanksgiving on the way. I hope everybody out there listening has a great Thanksgiving, both you and your families. I know I'm looking to eat my weight, so it's a big weight. So we're gonna have to really hit the turkey heavy this week. But listen, thank you for joining me, whether you're joining on Twitter, you're joining on the Arrowhead Addict podcast on the YouTube page. If you're watching on the YouTube page, do me a favor, subscribe, give it a like, and you know the deal. Ask the questions in the chat. I will get to as many of them as I possibly can. Got a daughter home today who is a little under the weather, and so if I have to cut it short, well, that's the way it's going to be, but I think we're going to be all right. I'm starting to feel better, thankfully. So if you're listening on Twitter, of course, just leave a question with the tweet, and we will get to those as well. All right. Real quick takeaways from my end on week 11, then I'm take all your questions. Look, the Cowboys made a statement. Okay, they're showing that they're going to stick around. The Bills, they got back on track. They beat the Browns. I thought the Bills still had some struggles at times. The Browns had a lot to beat themselves early. Thought the Bills played better in the second half. They ran the ball. They were able to mitigate Nick Chubb away 19 yards. He did a nice job there. So the run game fixed on both sides, at least for a week. With Buffalo, we'll see how they play against the Lions, who are all of a sudden on a 3-game winning streak. And that game, of course, kicking off Thanksgiving Day action. Then the Jets. Look, the Jets need more out of Zach Wilson. They're not making the playoffs. I don't know how to. I mean, and I don't mean more than 77 yards or whatever he threw for. I mean, they need more. He needs to play a lot better, or they're not going to make it to the playoffs. And then finally, the game I know all you guys, I'm sure, want to talk about. Chiefs and the Chargers. Look, Mahomes was Mahomes. It's incredible to watch the guy on a week in, week out basis. They won the game largely because of he and Kelce, but defensively they stepped up in the second half. They played much better up front. 5 sacks overall against the Chargers, who had given up the fewest sacks in football. I believe it was 11 or 12 sacks. I think it was 12 going into the game. Chiefs get 5. Super impressive. So with that win, the Chiefs essentially wrap up the AFC West. It's an impressive feat, man. Assuming they win the division, that's 7 in a row. Only the 73s through the 79 Rams and the 09 to 19 Patriots have ever done it. It is really bordering now on historic. And the Chiefs, of course, 3 games up with a breaker on the Chargers. The Raiders and Broncos, they can put to bed this week, depending on how things shake out. So kudos to the Chiefs for a huge, huge win. And now they play the Rams, who last I checked, they are 14.5-point favorites over. Huge number, but deservedly so. All right. Let me get some of your questions and commentary. So let's start here at the back. Let's see. Happy Victory Monday, Jake. Yeah, you as well, man. Jay Ward, do you think Sky Moore proved himself enough last night? I think he proved that he can play. Now look, does that mean he's going to be getting more targets than he had been when Juju and Hardman are healthy? I don't know, but it should at least make you feel good about the pick going forward, right? I mean, I think Sky Moore showed you could do some stuff. He was impressive. And additionally, with Hardman out for a month and Tony out with the hamstring, you're probably going to see more Sky Moore. I think that's going to happen. And it should happen with those guys out right now. Now, when they're at full health, he's probably still down there on the depth chart. But it was a nice game. Kid came up big for the Chiefs, and they needed him. Allen, did you get the starter jacket ordered? I did, man. I did. I had to do it. I had a starter jacket. I had multiple starter jackets as a kid. I had a New Jersey Devils one. I'm sure I had a Chiefs one as a kid. I can't remember off the top of my head. I had a Knicks one, I believe. And I love those starter jackets. And so when I saw that Homage came out with those things and they were like the real legitimate ones, had to be done. Got the job done. Should be coming in the mail the next 3 or 4 days. So I am excited about that. Jay Ward, what did you think of Nick Bolton last night? People acting like the penalties outweighed his full performance. Look, his penalties were a problem. Okay. The face mask, look, that happens. That hit out of bounds can happen. If I had one more Chiefs fan saying, what was an acting job? No, it wasn't. He hit him 2 steps out of bounds. And if somebody hit Mahomes in the exact same way, everybody in the world would be screaming for a flag. You can't do that. Now, that being said, I thought Bolton played a very good game in the second half. And he had a very big stop at one point in the first quarter as well. I thought he had a good game overall. But the penalties matter. The penalties matter. But overall, he was a positive in that game. I think that's a fair way of putting it. Joshua Turner, hey man, I love that you appreciate football history. Thank you. Why does Marino usually get overlooked in the most talented QB talk? Do people just not know how good he was? Yeah, I think that's part of it. I also think he didn't win a Super Bowl. Like, he and Warren Moon were ridiculous. Warren Moon might be the most underrated player in NFL history. But they didn't get the Super Bowl. They didn't win. You know, our culture, it's about being a winner. It's about being a champion. And those guys weren't. I don't think that's fair. Like, Marino is absolutely good enough to win multiple Super Bowls. I'll tell you what, for my money, his 84 season, it's the best season in NFL history. By any position, bar none, period. Like, to throw for 5,000 yards in 1984, that's literally like if Mahomes this year threw for like 6,500 yards. Like, that's what that would be. Era adjusted. I mean, it's bonkers what Marino did back in the day. Okay. Paul says, Matt, I can relate. My daughter was sick for 7 days, just wouldn't go away. I hope she feels better, man. Thank you. Yeah. She woke up this morning, and she's 5 years old, and she was puking. I think I don't know if it's a little bit of food poisoning or what. She puked like 5 times. Has not, though, in the last like 5 hours, and is happy, like bouncing around the house. So I guess that's a positive. But yeah, just something didn't agree with her, man. She had to stay home from school today, and I've been hanging out with her. But she's hanging out right now watching Bluey and Barbies, and so I think she's okay. But thank you. Lucrative. Mahomes is becoming Jordan-esque. He really is. I mean, it's honestly, when they got the ball with whatever it was, a minute 40 to go, I just had no doubt they were going to score a touchdown. Zero. Like, my only question really was, how much time's going to left for the Chargers? That was the only question I had in my mind. I thought the Chiefs were going right down the field. I was not surprised at all. Okay, let's see. Jason, do you think the Ravens or Titans have a realistic shot at getting the number 1 seed in the AFC, or is it really just a 2-man race between KC and Buffalo? I think Baltimore's a real shot. Baltimore's the easiest schedule left in football. The Ravens could almost run the table. Now, the Titans have a really hard schedule, so I do not think they can do it. Plus, they lost to Kansas City and to Buffalo. They have to supersede them. I don't think that's going to happen. If you made me bet money on it, I think the Chiefs will be the number 1 seed. I think the Chiefs can lose one more game and still be a number 1 seed, and I don't think the Chiefs will lose more than one more game. But I do think the favorites for it, KC, Buffalo, Baltimore. I would throw Baltimore there. Yes. Let's see what we have. Jake, been super proud of these guys all year. What's the key to generating takeaways? Combination thing. I think pressure. Pressure is the number 1 thing. And then rallying to the ball as a unit. You know, you saw the fumble they forced with Keenan Allen. Why did that happen? How did they force that fumble? Well, they hit him with 2 different guys, right? I mean, that tends to be, you know, if you rally to the ball, first of all, if the ball pops out, you got a better chance of getting on it. Number 2, if you can have 2-3 guys hitting somebody, you got a better shot of knocking the ball. And then I think it's always with interceptions, a lot of times it's pressure. Yeah, sure. You might get a ball where the corner makes a great play or there's a miscommunication, which happens. But a lot of times it's because you get pressure. I mean, look at the pick they got last night. Why did they get that interception? Because Jones was harrying Herbert and he threw the ball off a weird platform. He didn't get enough on it, and the ball got popped up in the air. Bolton picked it off. Can we stop acting like Hardman is a good receiver? He's fine. Like, he's a number 3. That's what he is. I don't think anybody's acting like he's a number 1. But I also don't think anybody should be acting like he doesn't belong on the team. Like, he's a decent player. And he's a good returner. Patrick, do you think McColl's injury gives us more of an opportunity to get OBJ? Maybe. Look, you know what? I reported over a month ago, so at this point the report's outdated. But I mean, they were one of 5 teams in on it. Now the Packers and Rams are 2 of those teams. I don't think the Packers and Rams are going to be getting Odell Beckham. Now you hear the Giants and the Cowboys. Look, that stuff's been out there. I mean, I didn't put that in my report only because Josina Anderson's been on the Giants thing since October. Josina does a hell of a job. And I'll tell you right now, you want to know about what's going on with Odell Beckham? Check Josina Anderson's stuff out. She knows. And then the Dallas thing, that's kind of come up the last couple of weeks as they've started to make a little bit of a run. Do I think the Chiefs are going to sign him? Probably not. Just because there's a lot of competition. And the Chiefs have a lot of depth. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes. But I don't know that the Hardman injury is really going to affect it all that much. Okay. Who is the one NFC team you wouldn't want to see in the Super Bowl? I think probably the best team, probably Philly. But I got to be honest. I think anybody coming out of the AFC is going to be a deserved favorite over the teams coming out of the NFC. They're just better. It's nothing against Philadelphia. I think the Eagles are a very, very good team, but I don't think they're on the level of the Chiefs or the Bills, and the Bills are at their best. I don't. I think they're very good, and they do have a lot of skill. Like the Eagles could beat either one of those two teams, but I don't think they would. Like if you put them in a neutral field with Kansas City, I don't think they'd win half the games. I don't. I think they'd win 3 or 4. T says, during the draft, I was upset we didn't get George Pickens over Sky Moore. And do you think Justin Herbert might have to go to another team with the 49ers in a couple of years to make some noise? I'll just, listen, I mean, you gave an observation, a question. I'll leave the observation to you. The question, I can't get there yet. But I will say this, Herbert, they need a real coaching staff. They need a real coaching staff. The one problem with Herbert that I do think is fair, it's a criticism that I'm not always high on, but I think with Herbert, there's some justification to it. At some point, you got to win some of these games, man. Like, at some point, they had the ball inside the 5-yard line at the end of the first half of 17-13. The Chiefs are absolutely reeling at that point. I mean, the Chiefs' defense was a mess in the first half of the game. You've got a first and goal inside the 5. You can't get in, you kick a field goal. Okay, 20-13. You get the ball out of half. You do absolutely nothing. I think they went 3 and out. Maybe they had 1 first down. They punt the ball away. Then you get the ball back. You're still winning 20-16. You can't do anything. Like at some point that there is something to say about like you got to just do something with the ball, man. And I don't want to hear, well, they didn't have Mike Williams. The Chiefs were playing with a bunch of guys who barely see the field. They scored 30 points last night. I mean, come on. Like Herbert at some point here, like I'm all for giving most of the grief to the Chargers for Herbert's issues at times. Herbert owns some of this stuff. Like, you're a great player, then go be one. Then go be a great player. The Chiefs defense is an average defense. It's not bad. It's not. It honestly gets more maligned than it should, but it's not an upper echelon defense. And Herbert could not do anything in the second half of that game, save for one throw. I mean, at some point, you got to do it. You got to win football games. That's literally why you're there. Lucrative update on the snow pants situation. So people are probably like, what? Yeah. So really quickly, last Tuesday on the Stack in the Box podcast, I sent my daughter to school, the one who's home sick right now. So her to preschool. It was cold. It was flurrying, and I dressed her, mittens, gloves, jacket, the whole deal, or mittens, hat, jacket, everything. Get an email that's sent out to all the parents, not just to me, but all the parents saying, look, if your kid doesn't have snow pants and snow boots, they're going to have to sit on the sidewalk and watch the other kids play. Okay. I did not take kindly to that email. As it turns out, none of the kids went outside because it was deemed too cold. So none of them went outside. So nobody had to watch anybody play, which I can accept more than the other side of this. But you can check out my 6-minute rant on this on the Arrowhead Addict YouTube or Stack the Box YouTube channel, which the team put up, and I think is actually pretty funny in rewatching it. I was not pleased with that situation. A quarter inch of snow, and kids got to have snow pants on. I mean, what world do we live in? She's got to wear snow pants with a quarter inch of snow. If she tries to do a snow angel, the snow is going to melt in 10 seconds. Like, what are we worried about? So, in any event, that is the update on the snow pants. I appreciate your concern. All right. Joe, what do you guys think about bring back Kareem Hunt next year? I don't think there's any chance that they're bringing back Kareem Hunt. They were pretty unhappy with him for obvious reasons when he left the building. Kyle, it's weird when a team against the Chiefs scores to take the lead with less than 2 minutes left, and it feels like garbage time. Yeah. You just felt it coming. I mean, you did, didn't you? I mean, you just kind of felt like, yeah, they're not going to be able to stop him. And they didn't. Richie, do you think Juju earned some money from the Chiefs last night? Our offense looks a lot more in sync with him out there. Interesting question. I mean, he scored 30 points without him. I think Juju's just earned his money, period. Man has come in and done a hell of a job. I don't think last night altered his stock one way or the other, Richie. I just think it was more of just the Chiefs were able to get by without him. But I'll tell you right now, you better believe they want him back on the field because he matters. He's a damn good player. Okay. Ecoplex. Mahomes in 2018 took the league by storm, but if he continues this pace this year and wins MVP, all without Tyreek and a ton of new receivers, do you think this could actually be his most impressive season? Pal, I think it's his most impressive season now. Right now. Like, when he came into the league in 2018, to use your term, and took it by storm, there was a level of like, nobody's ever seen this guy before. How do you defend them? I mean, they were a phenomenon that season. You know, on the level of the Air Coryell Chargers, the 99 Rams. I mean, a team that, like, you had no idea what to do with them. They were so overwhelming. This team, like, the league's been preparing for years, and there's no Tyreek Hill, and he's just torching the NFL. Like, I actually think this season is more impressive because of everything that he's done without Tyreek Hill, without the ability to just shock the NFL. This, to me, is the best season he's ever put forth. Now, obviously, he's got to continue this level of pace, but he's been amazing. Okay. Do you think, Nicholas says, do you think that with CEH high ankle sprain, you think we bring Rojo up now? Yeah, probably. But, guys, I don't think he's seeing the field. I got to tell you, this has become the fascination of Chiefs Kingdom, is getting Rojo on the field. Guys, they're not going to bench Isaiah Pacheco to see Ronald Jones. And they're not putting Ronald Jones in there on third down. I'll tell you that much right now. Everybody's going to love Ronald Jones, the idea of Ronald Jones, until he goes out there and he fumbles the ball. He's done his entire career. The last thing the Chiefs need is a guy going out there and fumbling. Look, I'm not trying to denigrate Ronald Jones. He's got his upside too. Okay, he's a tough runner. He's good down in the red zone. I'm not saying he doesn't have his pluses, but if you're the Chiefs, like, you're putting him in there over Pacheco and McKinnon, there's not a chance in hell. Latrell says Melvin Gordon coming to town. Again, another guy. Nobody fumbles more. The Chiefs would be insane to bring him in. Patrick, do we know how bad Tony's hamstring injury is? We don't. I reached out. I'm working on trying to find that out, but we do not right now. Have not heard yet. Joshua, hey man, Mahomes is the best, but who is even on his level? Good way to speculate. Which teams wouldn't trade their quarterbacks for him straight up? Only two, Buffalo and maybe Cincy. Look, Buffalo wouldn't trade Allen for Mahomes because of what he means to the city. I'll tell you right now, from a football perspective, they would trade for Mahomes. There's not anybody in the league that wouldn't trade their quarterback for Mahomes. Now, again, if you want to bring in like the whole like civic meaning part of it, like Burrow's a hometown guy, all that stuff, maybe, but nobody's on his level right now. Nobody. He is legitimately right now without peer in the NFL. I don't even think he's minus money to win the MVP. It's week 11. That's impossible. Normally you're a favorite. You're plus 300, plus 400, but he's minus 150. Like, the Vegas basically was like, it's over. That's basically what Vegas is saying. It's nuts. They're trying to get anybody else to have some money on him so they can win some money. All right. Let me go through. John, do you think Herbert's struggles could be because he doesn't have a burner receiver? It's not helping him. They're very slow on the outside. Carter gives him some speed, but he's not a real polished receiver. It's not helping. The Chargers need some more speed. The Chargers also, let's also say this too. Everybody's going to point out, like, well, going into the game, they were the least sacked team in the league. Yeah, because they throw the ball 3 feet a clip. Like, that line's not good. And when the Chiefs forced him to hold the ball in that game, they got 5 sacks on him. They killed the Chargers up front second half of that game. So, yes, I think it is a problem for them. I do. All right, let me keep going through. I'm going to get to the questions on Twitter here, guys, in just a minute, so I haven't forgotten about you. I just try to catch up on the video ones first because there's more of them. Michael, I have tried all of the burnt ends in the KC metro area. God bless you. Char Bar is by far the best. Hey, man, we actually had a party there years ago. I've been to Char Bar. Char Bar is awesome. Don't miss this spot in your visit. Enjoy your stay. I will go to Charbo. Listen, that actually brings up something I want to say real quick here to both the Twitter people, Twitter followers, and of course everybody here watching on Arrowhead Addict. I and the rest of the Arrowhead Addict podcast team will be in Kansas City in 2 weeks. I am getting there on Friday, which is December 9th, and I will be there through Sunday night. The Broncos and Chiefs, the game will be on Sunday Night Football in Denver. We will be doing essentially a live podcast and a watch party. You can check it out. It's in the description. You can see right there as it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And if you don't, if you're not watching, you can check out the Eventbrite link. I tweeted out earlier, so just scroll through my timeline. It's probably a few tweets back. You can RSVP. It doesn't guarantee a seat because it's a Tanner's Bar and Grill, and so they have other people there. But what it does do is if you're one of the first 50 people to show up, you get a free prize. And you can hang out and watch a game with me. Watch a game with everybody else, Patrick and Sterling and Matt and Adam and so on and so forth. Really hope to see everybody there. It's at the Tanner's in Kansas on Rainbow Boulevard. We'll be tweeting out a whole bunch of stuff about it going forward. But that said, listen, I'm also going to be out and about in Kansas City the whole weekend. I'd love to see some people, meet up with some people, chat, say hi, have a drink. Let's get it, man. I'm coming out. I can't wait to see as many people as I possibly can. So hit me up, and let's try to make something happen. All right. Let's keep rolling. Gary, Tony's injury, will we be looking for another receiver? It's hard to say how serious it is. My guess is no. I think they feel pretty good about their depth. Kyle, CEH is injury prone. Guys complaining about McColl and CEH. Should look at the TD totals. Kelce got all of them. And MVS, McKinnon, Pacheco, Gray, Sky, Justin, unfortunately, haven't seen the end zone much. Listen, it's all about getting down the field and scoring. And Kelce's a ridiculous mismatch down there. That's it. Zach, do you think winning and showing out helps or hurts in signing OBJ? I mean, it helps. If you want to look at it that way, it helps. He wants to be a team that can win. Alan, good day, Matt. Mate, good morning, Arrowhead Addicts. Thanks, man. Chandler, with how much the AFC West spent on free agency this year and Herbert money coming and the Broncos being stuck with Wilson, is the AFC West going to be the AFC East of the past with the Chiefs winning 20 straight? I don't know if they're winning 20 straight. They go in a lot of them, though, man. The Raiders are in purgatory, and they're kind of locked into it at this point for a while. The Broncos are screwed with Wilson. I don't think they're winning any division titles in the near years. The Chargers would be it, man. But the Chargers are kind of what they are. They're kind of capped at this point. I mean, they spent so much money. In other places. And now they're going to have to spend money, with Herbert, and I've talked to people in the league. A lot of people think 50 to 55 million. I mean, it's a lot of money. A lot of money. All right. You tired of Kareem Hunt and OBJ talk, bro? Yeah, you're not kidding. Okay, if I never have to talk again about Kareem Hunt, OBJ, and Rojo, it would not be a minute too soon. I believe me. I have to answer 100 of these every day, and I love talking to you guys, but all this stuff with these guys, to me, there's so much other stuff to focus on. Do you think Matt Nagy takes over as OC next year if Bieniemy gets a head coaching job? If Bieniemy got a job, yeah, probably. John, if you were OBJ, where would you want to go to make money and win in the offseason? In the offseason, I mean, if I'm him, I'd go where the hell they paid me the most. I would. I'd pick, a handful of contenders, and I'd go where I thought I could win. So it just depends. I mean, if Dallas is going to give him a fortune, then probably Dallas. Why wouldn't you want to go there? By the way, I don't know if you guys are watching. This World Cup game is nuts. Wales is really pressing the U.S. right now. Alan, is the Bengals our biggest challenge left in the schedule? Yeah, not even close. They'll be a touchdown or more favorite in every other game. All right, let's see. Alan, I will be in KC in spirit. A bit far from Queensland. Yeah, man. I don't expect anybody to make that trip. All right. Joe, have you seen the Skip Bayless? No. First of all, if it starts out, if your question starts out with, have you seen the Skip Bayless? No. Skip Bayless is a clown. You couldn't pay me enough. You could not. I'm not kidding. You could not pay me enough to sell my integrity down the road like he has. And God bless him. He'll leave a fortune to his family, everything else. Nobody is a bigger sideshow. And I don't know why anybody watches. I don't. I honest to God, I don't know why anybody watches the man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, he's purposefully a dope. He's intentionally a dope just to get under your skin, and he does it, and he makes millions of dollars doing it. Kudos to him. Okay. Heard anything about Kadarius? No, I haven't, guys. I haven't heard anything on Tony yet. I've been working on it. I have not yet. I don't even know if they know yet. They're probably doing tests today. Chiefs guy, Snead okay from that injury? Yeah, seemed fine. Let's see. Okay, I think we're about caught up here. Matt, are the chances the only team? I can't read. Matt, are the Chiefs the only team standing in their own way to winning a ring this year? I think they are. They're the best team in football. I picked the Bills to win Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. I'm to the point where I think Kansas City's better than them. I don't think they were a month ago, but right now I think the Chiefs are better. That can change. But right now, the Chiefs are the best team in football. Right now, they're the best team in football. All right, let me get the Twitter questions. And thanks, Josh, for being patient, waiting. I appreciate it. Bradley, do the Chiefs' woes on 3rd and short worry you moving forward? No, because I think if they need it, like they're not running Burton into the line, I think they'd be more creative. But they are sometimes concerning in that regard. I can understand where you're coming from. They have to be better there. Okay, more deserving. Jones, defensive player of the year. Kelce, offensive player. Jones. Kelce's been amazing. He's in the conversation. Chris Jones, to me, is the defensive player of the year. He has been a force of nature, which, by the way, guys, real quick, this actually brings me to something I wanted to say the other day, and I'm not trying to run anybody down because we all have opinions, and God knows we all get things wrong. I do it all the time. The next person in an offseason who's like, should we just trade Chris Jones? Maybe we should trade Chris Jones for a first-round pick. We should move. It's like, what world do you live in? I mean, you know how many people in Chiefsland, not even like just like analysts, are like, well, Chris Jones, if they move him, it's insane. That guy's like a Hall of Fame level great in the middle of his career. He's a leader on the team. He's a great player. And Chiefs fans, like, can we get a second for him? First, I mean, you know how many questions I fielded this offseason about whether or not they should trade Chris Jones? I'll never understand it, ever. When you have greatness, appreciate it, and you have it in him. So if I get one person in the offseason like, should they trade him? I'm going to lose my mind. And by the way, if they ever did trade him, I would blast them for a month. But it is amazing. Oh, mighty. I can't tell you how many times, man. Minimum 50 times this offseason, I had somebody either ask me or tweeted me, they should trade him. They should trade. I mean, it's insanity. It's absolute insanity. It happens more than you think. I've even seen people like write it. It's absolute full-blown insanity. All right. Zach, is Kansas City the best soccer city in the country? It might be. It's right up there, man. Kansas City is a great soccer city. Great soccer city. Great work out there is done too, with sporting and with current. Shout out to Ali Trost Martin, who I've gotten to know over the years on Twitter. She does an amazing job covering soccer in KC, and it's a great soccer city in the United States, no doubt. Okay, is Mahomes already the best AFC West quarterback of all time? That's actually a really interesting question, lucrative. He's the best Chiefs quarterback ever. I mean, I know Montana for 2 years, but like for what he did with them, shout out, ultimate respect, rest in peace, Len Dawson. Mahomes is the best quarterback they've ever had. So then the question becomes, is he better than Elway? Is he better than Fouts? Is he better than Stabler, who's in the Hall of Fame? I think he's already better than Stabler. Yes. Is he better than Fouts? Yeah, he probably is. Certainly more accolades. I don't think he's passed Elway yet. I got to be fair. Elway had a phenomenal career. But Mahomes, I think when it's all said and done, I think Mahomes will have passed him. Yes. But I don't think he has yet. Daniel says, do you see the Pacheco success is sustainable? Anything with the ground game you'd like to see? I do. Isaiah Pacheco can really book it, man. He can get outside. He can get around the edge. He's also good on those tough runs and stuff. I think Pacheco's a real guy. I think Pacheco's a real legitimate starting caliber, good running back. I'd like to see the Chiefs give him the ball 15 times a game. I think they absolutely should. And I think he'll reward him. I really love the way he runs. He runs with speed, but he also runs downhill with a purpose. And that's a damn good combination to have. So it's I'm watching this soccer game like out of the corner of my eye. You never know. You turn over and you see some guy like on the ground laying there, and you never can quite tell like if the guy's actually hurt or if he's just faking it because like it's soccer. And so you never like sometimes like some guy actually does get hurt, then you feel bad because you just automatically assume the guy's fine. I mean, in no sport, the guys just lay on the ground more writhing like they're about to need an amputation, and all of a sudden they pop up like they're on fire. They go running 100 yards the other direction. Anyway, I know you guys aren't here for my soccer takes, nor should you be because my soccer takes are non-existent. Let's see. Josh returned. Do you think the midseason lull could be good for the Bills with regards to peaking at the right time? Also, Milano in the discussion for player of the year. Milano's been great. I don't think he's going to be a defensive player of the year. You need to either have a ton of picks or a ton of sacks. So I don't think he's going to be there. I do not think the midseason lull is good for them. I'll tell you why. Because it's going to hurt them getting the number one seed. Potentially, anyway. I mean, obviously, they could still get it. They, I think, need that home field advantage more than the other teams do because it's been a long time for them. Not to say they can't win at Arrowhead or Baltimore. They certainly could. Hell, they've already done it. They've done it in both venues this year. But I do just think it would be such a lift for them to be at home and getting that bye and everything else. I think in the AFC, it really matters who's the number one seed. I do. And early in the year, I'd be honest with you, I didn't feel that way because I felt like, well, it's so even. And, whoever gets it, it's important, but it's not like ultra critical. I think it's actually really critical the way the AFC is shaking out now because these teams are so good. Like Miami's really good. Baltimore is coming around. Cincinnati's good. Like the one seed, look, you get rest and you get home field. I'll tell you what I think the biggest advantage is. You only have to play 2 teams and not 3 in the AFC. Like in the NFC, I don't think it matters. Who cares? You got to play one extra game. You got to play the Falcons, right? Like who cares? I think in the AFC, it matters. Like, you may be a 2 seed in the AFC playing the Bengals. Like, it's a real game. It's a real team. So, I'll put it that way. All right, let me keep rolling here. Do you think the Chiefs let teams get a lead purposely to come back? No, I don't. Mighty, if he wins the Super Bowl and MVP this season, would you say he's at least, on the same level, if not higher? I'm assuming you mean of Elway. Yes. If he wins another Super Bowl this year and they win it, yes. Yeah, because then he's got 2. He's been to 3. He's got 2 MVPs in that scenario. Yes. Echo, did you order your Sky Moore jersey yet? Red or white? No, I have not. Chiefs guy, do you think Brady won't retire because Mahomes is taking the spotlight? No. I think Brady won't retire because he loves football. I mean, let's be honest. If you're Brady, what the hell do you care about Mahomes? You kicked this team's ass in the Super Bowl. You've beaten him in both playoff games. Brady has nothing to worry about with regard to his stature. No, I don't think so. Joe, dude, I love your takes on the Chiefs. I listened to your cast at work all night. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. On the money, do you think Rojo will run well next week because he's angry and fresh, or do you think he might intentionally suck? So Chiefs release him. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think he's going to see the field. And no, nobody's going to intentionally suck, man. I don't think you got to worry about that. With the Bengals' second half defense and the Chiefs' ability to adjust at halftime, how important is the first half of that game? Also, Spags' second half defense is the GOAT. Always plays well. That is true. So there are times with the Chiefs, I don't know what the hell is going on in the first half of games. The second half of games, the Chiefs have been lights out this year in their adjustments. Lights out. I will tell you this. If there is one game this year, and I've said this for over a month now, if there's one game this year that I think the Chiefs are going to do every possible thing they can do to beat the other team, it is that Bengals game. They are going to want blood in that game. Now, look, they got to work to get it. The Bengals are a really good football team. But if there's ever a game that the Chiefs are going to want to win by 100 points. That one is, I mean, they've circled that so many times, they've carved it out at this point. They are going to want to pound Cincinnati. I think they will be very ready for that game. Don, curious to know Chiefs defense, second half statistics, the last 3 games, for example. I'd have to look them up, man. I don't have them in front of me. I'm not sure. Andrew, do you think Rojo will get some playing time now at the injury CH? Very sparingly. I do not think. I think it's just Pacheco at this point, man, and it's him and McKinnon. I really do. John, who should the Chiefs draft, or what position should they draft to get even better this offseason? I'll be honest with you. I couldn't tell you the player they should draft because I don't start paying attention to the draft until after the season. I'm so busy, man. Like, I do a lot of Chiefs work here on the Arrowhead Addict podcast, and I love doing that. Of course, if you guys have followed my career, I came up with Arrowhead Pride, over at SB Nation, then Arrowhead Addict here. So then, so everybody knows I'm a Chiefs fan. There's no point in trying to skirt that. I know some people cover the league, and I get it. I don't blame them. They conceal who they root for. I don't, because to me, that's pointless. Plus, my passion, it's kind of hard to do that anyway. But I also have to cover the whole league. So I'm doing Sack in the Box, and I'm talking to people around the whole league. I just don't have time to invest in the draft yet. But as far as positions, I mean, look, man, I don't think edge is settled yet. They could use a top tier receiver. I could see the Chiefs going after a top tier receiver. Tackle, keep an eye on those. When it comes to Jay Ward, when it comes to Mahomes, would you be disappointed if he wasn't able to win at least 2 more rings? Yeah, probably, based on how great he is. I got to tell you guys, I was thinking this last night. If the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl this year, it'd be really disappointing because they're the best team. And this league is so mediocre this year. I mean, it's going to come. You got to win 3 games in January and February. That's it. They're going to get there. They're going to get there. You got to win 3 games, maybe 4 if you're not the 1. But this, if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, they're going to rue the missed opportunity. Just like I'm sure they ruled last year, where they had the Bengals at 21-3, and they would have beaten the Rams. They would have won that game. I'm sure. That's a game that's one that got away. And look, that's part of it, guys. It gets away from you. Brady lost to Mark Sanchez in the playoffs. He lost to Joe Flacco. I mean, it happens. But this is the year where they could do it. No doubt about it. This is a year where they've got to feel like it's right there for them. D-Train. Chris Jones made a remark about last year's AFC Championship game. Think he's chomping at the bit for that rematch. And says, bro, I think everybody on that team is chomping at the bit for that rematch. I mean, you know how that's the worst loss of a lot of their lives. You know how many guys are sitting in that locker room probably crying after that game? They are going to want blood in that game. Let me tell you something right now. If that becomes a game like they'd love it to be, where they're somehow up by multiple scores late, I don't think they're just running the clock out. They are going to want to not only get revenge, they're going to want to show that if you have to see us again in January, it's going to be like this time. They're going to want to make a statement, send a message. Now, look, it's not going to be easy. They may not be able to do it. The Bengals are good. The game's in Cincinnati, but that is the kind of guy I can see the Chiefs just, here it comes. Stop us. Joe, how do you feel about the O-line versus Aaron Donald? I feel good because they're going to double and triple him the entire game because the Rams have nobody else can get pressure. But he's a beast, and he'll make some plays. He's ridiculous. John, do you feel Justin Watson could be our top-tier receiver, or do we really even need – oh, no. Justin Watson's a guy who's helpful. He's a good depth piece, but he's not a top-tier receiver. They need a number 1. If I were Brett Veach, and I'm not, and we should all be thankful for that, I would re-sign Juju, keep MVS. I'd elevate more. I would offer Hardman, but I would offer it on like my terms. Like it would have to be a deal that I felt was a really good deal for the Chiefs if I'm Brett Veach. And then I'm drafting a receiver in the top 2 rounds. Because to me, when you have Mahomes, just keep loading up. Patrick, is Stafford going to be healthy for Sunday? Unknown yet. I should know more today to see if he's in the protocol or not. He had to leave. They didn't say the Rams didn't if he was going to be in the protocol. Yeah, they were still doing some tests. We don't know yet. D-Train, how would you attack the Rams D if you're the offensive coordinator? I mean, honestly, guys, I throw the ball like crazy. The Rams, Bill Barnwell of ESPN tweeted this out. The Rams are the worst team in man coverage in the NFL. I would relentlessly throw the ball. That's what I would do. All right, so let's see. You got everything caught up here. Let's see. How do you feel about Justin Ross? Could be something special. He's been so hurt, man. It's hard for me to get there. Chandler's Chris Jones, the best defensive tackle in the NFL. Right this year, yes. I mean, Donald is typically, but this year I think Jones actually has been. Yes. By the way, got a penalty kick coming for Garth Bale of Wales against the United States. That is not ideal. He is not bad. He's pretty damn good. And they're in the 81st minute. So if you're a soccer fan, if you're watching this game, you're not feeling very good right now about the United States, who had all this hype coming into this thing, and now you're sitting here and you're sweating it out after pretty much dominating most of this game. Let's just see here, and I'll go back to the questions, guys. I apologize. I'm curious to see how this shakes out. Big moment. And then Nate says, do you think we'll see more Brian Cook with the injury to Juan Thornhill? Yeah, if Thornhill's got to miss time, yeah, absolutely. Yes, him and Bush, you'll see more of, I believe. And goal for Bale, tie game. All level in Qatar. Jonathan, how do we sign up for the KC meetup December 11th? Really want to go and meet you all, throw back a few beers, maybe even see a Verderame in person. Yeah. Thanks for all the great content as always. So we can drop it into the chat for you as well, Jonathan, but you can see it. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You can check out on Twitter. If you have Twitter, you can check out my Twitter page. So there's a lot of different ways. There's RSVP through the Eventbrite link. Again, I tweeted it out. You want to RSVP and you want to get there early. You want to get there early so you can get yourself a seat. But really would love to see everybody. Let's make it happen. Any word on the Tony injury? Asked James. Or any other injuries from yesterday? I was at the game and it's Arrowhead West. Yeah, you could tell it was Arrowhead West. You could tell. No, the injuries, I mean, they basically said they would update everybody later in the day. They're probably doing a bunch of the tests right now. That's typically how Mondays go. All right. All right, everybody. I got everybody. I got all the questions. I really appreciate everybody coming in and stopping by, whether it was on Twitter or on the Arrowhead Addict podcast feed. Always love answering the questions, chopping it up, talking ball with all of you. Again, if you're watching on Arrowhead Addict, just give it a thumbs up on the way out if you couldn't. Subscribe if you haven't already. Would really, really appreciate that. Also, hey, do the same with Stack in the Box. Subscribe, Stack in the Box. Sterling and I will be on tomorrow, getting it done. And then if you're on Twitter, hey, listen, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions about the meetup or you just want to hang out, you want to throw back a beer with, me and a couple of the guys, whatever, Friday, Saturday, you want to get together, we can try to make it happen. I can't guarantee that, obviously. We're running around, but I'm trying to meet as many people as possible. So let me know. Get in touch with me. Happy to see everyone. All right? Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and we'll chat soon. Take care.